Yes. So once again, very good afternoon to everyone. So today we will have an overview of what we are going to learn in this object-oriented programming through Java. Okay. So another very interesting language you are going to learn. It's various aspects which are included in this particular language. We will discuss about the object-oriented programming in the beginning, its applications, how the program is constructed in Java. Then we have the concepts of object-oriented programming. We will discuss about what is inheritance, polymorphism, and encapsulation. Then we have the interfaces, packages, and enumerations. How the interfaces are created, how a package can be created, and then we will talk about the exceptions, how the exceptions are being handled. Then another very interesting topic about what is multi-threading, how the multi-threading is done in Java, and then we will talk about the applets. Then we have the event handling. The fourth unit is completely the window-based applications where we are going to use the AWT tools to build up the window-based applications. So window-based programs we will write and we will discuss. So this is of course that syllabus which we are having regarding this object-oriented programming. And another point here is so which textbook we are supposed to follow. So this book, The Complete Reference Java, Herbert Schultz, is a very beautiful book for a beginner to learn about Java. So this I'm having a soft copy with me. I will share with you either today or tomorrow. Okay, uh, so that you can just go through it and check out whatever I'm telling. So the main thing, remember what I am requesting you before I jump into the subject is just be very regular to these classes. Why? Because there is a lot of connectivity between the previous class and the next class, and you need to be every day revising those topics. You need to be very thorough with the definitions. The reason why here is we will be using the definition, and if some particular term comes into the mind, immediately you should get through the definition. Like for example, if I say about the constructor, immediately you should have a clear idea about what is a constructor. Then if I say means if I am say inheriting, so then you should have an idea about what is inheritance. Then if I am using interface, then you should have an idea about interface. Okay, likewise, if I'm using thread, then what is the thread? You must, if you are having the idea about this, then it will be very easy for you to understand the subject. And at the same time, as I'm insisting you right from the day one, when you have joined, remember, you have very short period of time because the MCA has been reduced to 2 years, and you're just going to stay in the college for only 1.5 years. Okay, then you need to be preparing for your interviews also. So whatever the opportunity you're supposed to get, you need to avail that opportunity. You have to give your best, and rest you leave it on the Almighty, the God here. But you need to prepare from the day one. Like the definitions also, where I have insisted in C, some definitions are necessary. So I will share some questions also regarding the interview questions regarding C. Just prepare the answers for that. Just questions I'm going to share. Just prepare answers for that, and keep on revising them every day, so that whenever an opportunity comes, you can easily you can avail that opportunity and you can get through the interview. Okay, and actually we have planned a lot to have some jam sessions, some uh, uh, what the building our communication skills as well as our presentation skills. We planned a lot, but it was not completely possible because of this pandemic. Of course, whatever it is, whatever the opportunities, whatever the resources we have, let us avail those resources. Let us use those resources. Uh, mm, yeah. So now the topic which we are going to discuss is about the object-oriented programming. What is object-oriented programming today? What are the concepts of object-oriented programming? We will discuss today. So it's very important class for you. Those who have joined, please listen very carefully. And if you have any doubt, you can ask me in the end. So today I'm not going to talk about anything about Java. I'm just going to talk about what is object-oriented programming. So, what is object-oriented programming? How it is being used? Uh, what is the approach of this object-oriented programming? We will discuss now. Now, object-oriented programming is the method of designing an application in terms of entities or objects. It is the process of designing an application in terms of entities or objects. So, objects which resemble to the real world means whatever we are going to develop in this whatever we are going to develop in this object-oriented programming, we consider them as an object. So, can anyone just once unmute yourself and tell me what actually an object is? Anybody? Can anyone unmute yourself and please tell me what an object is in your sense?
Real-time entity.
A real-time entity, of course. Then any you can what else you can tell about an object?
For example, we take a book, uh, number of pages is sub-entities, sir. Book name
Number
is
of
an
pages is
entity, number of pages is an entity, and టైటిల్ అలా సార్. అంటే ఇప్పుడు బుక్ ఉన్నదనుకోండి సార్, దాంట్లో దానికి ప్రాపర్టీస్ ఉంటాయి సార్. నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ పేజెస్ అనేది ఒక ప్రాపర్టీ, బుక్ యొక్క టైటిల్ ఒక ప్రాపర్టీ, బుక్ యొక్క వెయిట్ ఎంత ఉందో అదో ప్రాపర్టీ, అలా ఉంటుంది సార్ ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్కి. అంటే క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్ మనం తీసుకుంటాం సార్ ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్.
Okay, thank you, Pawan. Anybody else? So I request others also, if you please participate and tell me what you're thinking. Let us make the sessions little bit interactive because it's very boring. I'm talking continuously and you people are just uh, not responding. Anybody, in your sense, what is an object? No one else?
Nothing but a thing. Also, we can say it as a object, sir, which
Okay,
is movable,
okay,
physical.
okay. You can say it is tangible, which is movable, which is
Yes, sir.
okay, okay, agree. Okay, anybody
Which
else?
can be touched and seen.
Very good, Monica. Very good, which can be touched and seen. Very good. What else?
It is also called as bundle of variables.
Bundle of variables. Okay. Still,
Object is an instance of class.
okay. So that's a very formal definition, Sandhya. Thank you. It's an instance of a class. Very good. A very formal definition of object. Uh, okay. Then I would like to ask you one question. Can I call myself as an object? Is Nadeem as an object?
No,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Anything we can take it
Yes,
as an
sir.
object.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So you have made me an object. Oh my goodness.
Why not, sir?
Huh? So maybe today you made me an object. So anybody says that I am not an object?
No, sir, for me.
Oh, okay. So Amindya says that I am not an object. I'm not an object at all.
Yes,
So
okay.
as per Monica, the sun, anything which can be seen and touched is an object. Okay. Okay, fine. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining and sharing your views. Now, I can say that as he said, a real-time entity. So, which has been created for a specific purpose, which is created for a specific purpose is an object here. So we'll go for the small formal definitions later on, but let me explain you a few things. So as you people see, as Funny said, so a book is an object because it is meant for some specific purpose here. Likewise, if you take around few things which are around you, like if you take a pen, if someone is actually handling a book and a pen in your hand, then I can say that pen is an object there. Then the chair in which you are sitting or whatever the means you are using to sit now is an object. So whatever the resource which you're using to listen this class, either your mobile or in your laptop or your any other personal digital assistant which you're using, then I can call it as an object. Then likewise, the room in which you are sitting around, if you see a lot of things are there which are objects, the fan which is you're using, or the air conditioner which you're using, or whatsoever it is, we can call this an object. Then comes the question whether is Nadim as an object. So in my sense, in my view, I can say that yes, I am an object also. As the students who are sitting now is an object. So in the object oriented programming, everything is considered to be an object because all these things are meant for some specific purpose. So I say, if I talk some spiritually, if I say the Almighty has created every creature on this earth, okay, for some specific purpose. So every creature, every human being or animals or whatever it is, they are created for specific purpose, and we can call them as object there. Why we are calling it as an object here? Because an object is something which has some specific properties, and which has some specific properties, and as well as a specific operations which it is going to perform, which is meant for performing some specific operation. Say example again, I will start from a book there. So each book is having some specific properties or attributes. You can other term which you can use here is an attribute, or you can call it as an property also. So what properties a book have? A book has a cover page, a book has a title, a book has an author, a book has a number of pages. Okay, a book has a number of pages, then the edition, the book edition. All I can call them, I can define them as the properties of the book. Okay, so what is the purpose of the book? It is meant for reading. It is meant for reading. It has some information. It is created for reading. Or if it is an empty okay, notebook, then it is meant for noting down something. Likewise, if you take a pen, so the pen is also having some specific properties. The make of the pen, its body color, its ink color, okay, its tip, whether you can talk about the tip also. Then what is the purpose of the pen there? What it is meant for? Then it is created for writing. Likewise, if you talk about your laptop, you can talk about the properties of your laptop, uh, its make, its hard, um, uh, it's we can talk about its processing speed. Then we can talk about its RAM size, its internal storage capacity. Okay, then what is the purpose of laptop? It is used for browsing the net, of course. It is used to create the document. There's some specific purposes the laptop or your mobile has been created. Likewise, why I called myself as an object? Why I called you people as an object there? Because see, even myself is created for a specific purpose. Okay, now for what purpose I am in here, or if I say what properties generally I have to specific to this class. So the name, now the name is my a property there. Then I can say my qualification is a property. Then I can say my designation is a property there. Okay, the subject thoughts, what subject has been allotted to me is a property there. Okay, then likewise, if I define regarding the class, regarding the professional work which has been allotted to me, so there are some specific properties. Then what is the purpose of this Nadim here? What the Nadim is doing here now? The Nadim is taking class. He's teaching the object oriented programming. Likewise, if I talk about the students also, so the student name is a property. The student in which semester, which year they are studying, which semester in they are, uh, uh, mm, in which semester they are. Then if I say the subject they are listening, what is the some properties, and there are some certain actions or certain operations which you are supposed to perform also then. So we can, in object oriented programming, what we are going to do here is it is a process of analyzing and designing an application in terms of entities and objects. Those are seen, those resemble to the real world. So you are also going to design the applications now. You're going to design the applications where they resemble the real world. See, one thing here, how, why we are designing, why we are analyzing. First, if I talk, an object oriented programming is the process of analyzing. If I say analyzing, you are going to analyze. What you are going to analyze? You are going to talk about what type of objects are required to build up an application. So how many, what type of objects are required? You are going to analyze. After analyzing, you are going to design and implement. So in terms of entities or objects there, so which resemble the real world. Now today, if I say I want to conduct a class, I want to take up your class now. Then as a teacher, I should present. As students, you should present. So, for example, if I am present and you people are not present, then this work can't be done. Likewise, if you are present and I am not taking up the class today, then this particular operation doesn't perform. Now you have a book, but you don't have a pen. You can't write. And you have a pen and you don't have a book. You can't write. Okay, so you have a telephone now. You have your mobile or you have a laptop. No internet connection. You can't do it. So there is a lot of connection between all these things here. All things. So you're using all. That's why I said that all objects which are being created, they have been meant for specific purpose. Each object is helping other object. Each object is supporting another object here to fulfill a task. Likewise, you are going to build up an application. So when you are developing an application, you are going to analyze and design an application in terms of entities or objects. There, you are going to design thing the contents as an objects which resemble to the real world. Like in real world, one object is actually interacting with another object. Likewise, in an application also, one particular object is going to interact with another object to fulfill the task. So that's what we are going to do in case of this programming also. And it is the most, I can say, the interesting subject where you can compare everything to the real world, what the things which are happening around you. Okay, then you can compare them, and you can study and you can understand this particular subject. So now, after this definition, it is a process of analyzing and designing an application in terms of entities and object. Object resembles to a real world. Now, each object is actually is having some certain properties and as well as certain operations which it is going to perform. Each object is actually having some certain properties as well as some certain operations which it is going to perform. Okay, now next point here is about, as Sandhya said, uh, uh, an object is an instance of a class. An object is an instance of a class. So what is this instance of a class? What is actually a class? So a class can be said as a grouping of objects that have the same properties, common behavior, and common relationship. An object is class is an object that has the same properties, common behavior, and common relationship. Now, what is this common properties, common behavior, and common relationship here? Now, here today, you all people are sitting together. Now, why you are sitting together in the class? Because you have a common properties, you have a common behavior. Okay, you have common relationship here. So you have a relationship with me. What type of student-teacher relationship? So you are the students of Nadeem, and Nadeem is a teacher of the fellow students now. Okay, so there is a relationship here. So then, likewise, you all people belongs to MCA second semester. I can say you that is MCA second semester is a class. MCA second semester is a class. Now in this, each and every student is having means the name, the year of study, the semester, the subjects, some common properties. I'm not talking about the values here. See, property value is different, property is different. Property this defines this generalized things here. So everybody is having name. So what name you have? So I can say, so on my screen I can see few names here. So what name? So one object is having a name Pavan Kumar, another object is having a name called Amulya, another Durga, Kapil, Manju, Prasad, and likewise the others are also present there. So I have just taken the few names which are visible on the screen. Okay, so that is what is a value, property value. Name is a property, Pavan is a property value, the name, the value for. Likewise, Tafil is a value of a property called name. Prasad is a value of property called name. There. Now you all belongs to MCA second semester. Then you all are having. So what is the semester? Second semester. That's the value there. Likewise, so each object is actually having some properties here. So objects which have common properties, common behavior, same properties are grouped and they are called as a class there. So just I will revise that allows the analysis and designing an application in terms of entities or objects so that the process replicates the human thought as close as possible. Means this means the applications that the application has to be implement entities as they are seen in the real life and are associated actions and attributes with each other. So in real life, we are having each object is having some specific property attributes, its actions. Okay. Now, like in object-oriented, code and data are merged into a single indivisible thing called object. So in this, code and data are combined with each other. The code and data are combined into each other to a single indivisible thing called object. So I will talk about it more later on. So next I have the object concept of object. As I said, the concept or a thing defined boundaries that is relevant to a problem. So we will specifically talk about the objects which are relevant to the problem which we are dealing with. So not the irrelevant things we are going to discuss, just we are going to discuss the relevant things which are required for us. So this helps us to understand the real world and provide practical basis for the computer application. So because of this, it helps us to understand the real world problem and provides a practical basis for the computer application there. So we are going to consider all the real world problems there. Okay, so how they are being solved, and accordingly you are going to build up the application. So every object has its own properties and actions it can be performed. So as I said, each object is having its own properties and the actions which it is going to perform. Then we have discussed the class, so which is actually an instance of a class is called as an object there, and group of objects is called as a class. Then we have a properties, attribute, methods, and functions. So next two definitions see here. What are the properties and methods or a function? A characteristic required of an object or an entity when represented in a class. So what characteristic is required for an object when it is represented in a class is called as a property. There won't be a single property. Okay, there may be a single property, there may be a multiple properties. That all depends upon the application which you are developing. But characteristics, whatever the characteristics which are required when presented in the class is called as a property, or you can call it as an attribute. Likewise, we have a method or a function, an action required of an object or an entity when represented in a class. So whatever the action which is required for an object or an entity when represented in a class is called as an uh, uh, um, function or a method there. See, every object after having some properties, some actions is also it is going to perform. Like Nadeem, as I said, myself as an object here. So Nadeem is actually appointed as assistant professor in the college. Now, what is the action Nadeem is going to perform? So Nadeem is going to perform some specific duties. He has to take the classes, uh, uh, he has to teach the classes, what are the subjects which are allotted to Nadeem. At the same time, Nadeem has some administrative works also. If some other things are been assigned to him, so he is going to assign those duties. Sorry, he is going to perform those duties. Likewise, when you are joining, apart from your properties, what is your purpose? You have to come and attend the classes. That is an action. If any examination is conducted, you have to attend the examination. You have to write the examination. If any other things are relevant to you, if any other things are been relevant to you, then you have to perform such actions there. Okay, like for example, if I talk about the mobile, the things most of you are right now you're having in your hands there. So a mobile, what are the properties of a mobile here? So I can say the company name. Uh, which company name is one of the properties. Its model is a property, its type is a property there, then its cost, okay, its RAM size, its a processor, its a screen dimensions, etc., etc. A lot of things are in properties. Then what actions the mobile has to perform? The mobile has to perform actions like connecting to it. You can send the messages, you can receive the messages, you can make a call, you can receive a call, you can browse the internet, you can listen to the music, you can watch videos, you could install the applications, any apps, and then you can start working with them. So all these things are actually comes under the actions there. So when an application is designed, so we have the properties which are relevant to an object are being identified. At the same time, what actions the object are supposed to be performed is also mentioned. Then you have another two set of definitions which we will discuss today, and we will stop mostly because I just want to discuss about the features of OOP completely in one session. So what is an abstraction here? Process of examining certain aspects of a problem. Abstraction is process of examining the aspects of a problem. So in system development, abstraction means focusing on what an object is and does before deciding how it is to be implemented. So you need to examine the certain aspects of a problem. So if suppose some problem is there, so you should identify what aspects are required. So what objects are required, you need to identify and you have to bring them together. So it has to focus on what an object is and does. It has to means what are relevant to an application, what is relevant to an application you need to identify, and then you need to bring them together. And how it is implemented, we will talk about it later on. We will discuss about it later on. You may think about it later on, but right now in abstraction you should think what it is and what it is going to do before deciding how it is to be implemented. Likewise, another thing here, data abstraction, process of examining all the information about an entity to identify information that is relevant to an application. So it is the process of examining all the available information about an entity. What is the information is available? You need to examine about an entity. Entity here is nothing but an object before identifying which is relevant to an application. And application which you are going to implement, regarding that you need to think about examine the available information here. So you should identify the properties which are required, the methods which are related to a particular entity which is relevant to an application. Means what is the application which you're developing, what is required, you need to think about its properties. You need to talk about its properties. You have to gather about the properties and methods which it is going to perform, which is relevant in application. Now, for example, see, I'll just give you a very practical example. You may laugh about that. Now, as I said, Nadim is an object here. As I said, Nadim is an object. Uh, okay. Now, is anything mandatory that to take up a class? Is it mandatory to anything means? Is it necessary about the properties such as what is my weight, what is my height, what is my complexion? You say no. Of course, those are my properties. Okay, of course, they are those are my properties, uh, which are relevant to this particular object. What is its complexion? What is height? What is weight? What is hair color? You may laugh about that. Okay, but it is not necessary to take up a class here. So, what is required? What is relevant to the relevant to taking up a class here? Thing here is, what is my qualification? Am I a capable person of teaching you this subject or not? Okay, am I qualified enough? That thing is required. But at the same time, if I say that I'm going to some marriage proposal, of course, then all those matters, like what is my hair color, what is my weight, what is my how I am looking, what is my complexion, okay, uh, what how does I look, walk, etc., etc. Of course, just it's a practical example which I am giving you. Don't mind otherwise. Okay, so in such marriage proposals, actually, such things are required. Now, I just there also why I have given you seriously. If I talk about this practical problem, practical thing here, seriously, if you think about the point which I just want to stress here is, there also when teaching a class here also Nadeem, and there I'm going to some other matrimony, there also Nadeem. What has been changed? What has been changed? The requirement has been changed. That's what I'm stressing. That's what I practically just want to make you understand the thing here. Process of identifying properties and method related to a particular entity. So for a matrimony entity, height, weight, complexion, date of birth, age, all does matter. But when case of teaching, not age, not height, not weight, not complexion, not hair color, of course, only the name is required, the qualification is required, the designation is required. That's it. Is a person is capable of teaching or not? That thing here. In data extraction, you are going to examine all that available information. So you are going to think about that information about an entity, then you are going to identify it. Likewise, in the practically, when you are developing the applications also, you are going to gather the enough information about a particular entity, and then you are going to place. Like just another practical example which I'm going, which I may talk here is about if you're going to a bank, then I say you are a customer, you will be called as a customer. So when you are going to open a bank account, so regarding a customer, they are going to collect some enough information. So they are going to give you a form, and there you have to fill up your all the details which are required for opening a bank account. You are going to fill up and you are going to submit them. Likewise, if you are going to a railway station or a bus station, there you will call the same object. There, when you go to that particular place, then you will be called as a passenger. And for passenger, the requirements which are supposed to be filled may be different. Okay, not all information the bank is collecting to open an account will be required when you are going about to travel. Only few things are given, and as per the details which you are giving, a ticket is been issued if available to you, and then you may travel. You may travel. Okay. So likewise, whatever the applications, you may now start thinking about various applications and about various objects which have what type of properties they can be having. You may, if you think, you will get a lot of examples around. Okay, so that is about the object-oriented programming. Okay, it is a process of analyzing and designing an application in terms of entities and objects. So next class, in tomorrow's class, we will talk about the features of object-oriented programming. Very, very important topic which is required. The whole object-oriented programming is based upon these three features: the encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. All these three things are very, very important for us. So what is encapsulation, what is inheritance, what is polymorphism? We need to understand them very clearly so that the same terminology will be used further in your coming classes. Okay, the same terminology will be used in the coming classes. uh, Now and then we will talk about inheritance, we will talk about polymorphism, we will talk about encapsulation while developing our programs. Okay, so that's about today. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me.
No, sir.
Anybody else? Any doubts for anyone?